Today we will be learning about the digestive system. Does anyone know where the digestion starts? That's right. Digestion starts with the mouth and teeth, where food is chewed and broken up into smaller pieces. Our teeth break apart the food and begins to be mixed with saliva. Saliva is produced from the salivary glands, and this fluid begins to break down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. The food then passes into the esophagus, which pushes the food down into the stomach. The stomach itself has pepsid and hydrochloric acid. The pepsid and hydrochloric acid plus the food swallowed will churn into the stomach and will break down or change into proteins and amino acids. What are amino acids? 20% of the human body is made up of protein. Protein plays a crucial role in almost all biological processes, and amino acids are the building blocks of it. A large portion of our cells, muscles, and tissue is made up of amino acids, meaning they carry out many important bodily functions, such as giving cells their structure. They also play a key role in the transport and storage of nutrients. Amino acids have an influence on the function of organs, glands, and other things. The muscles in the esophagus push the food down into a similar motion like an otter pop, but in the opposite direction. Then we get into something called mechanical digestion or chemical digestion. There's two different kinds of digestions. One is mechanical, one is chemical. Both mechanical digestion and chemical digestion are necessary for foods to be digested and beverages into smaller pieces and molecules that are small enough to be absorbed into the small intestine. Both types of digestion are important and complement each other in the digestive process. There are, however, significant differences in the two types. Mechanical digestion involves the process of physically breaking down the food into even smaller parts. The major player in mechanical digestion is called mastication or chewing, and using the teeth to break the food into smaller pieces, small enough to be swallowed into the esophagus. This type of digestion generally starts and occurs in the mouth. There are also muscles in the stomach wall that contribute to mechanical digestion. It can actually be seen in that you can see the larger food pieces turning into all smaller pieces by the action of chewing. However, chemical digestion means the food is broken down into small molecules by chemical energy. One big part of chemical digestion involves the enzymes located in the stomach. They begin to break down food as soon as it enters the stomach. Chemical digestion actually starts in the mouth when our saliva mixes with the food. Saliva has an enzyme known as amylase that is important in breaking down carbohydrates. As an enzyme, amylase is a type of protein that undergoes a biochemical reaction to change one molecule into another. Most chemical digestion, however, occurs in the stomach, with some happening in the intestines. The hydrochloric acid located in the stomach works for the purpose of chemical digestion. Chemical digestion is completely invisible. In the process of chemical digestion, starches we eat are turned into simple sugars. Pepsin turns large proteins into peptides, which are then turned into amino acids for absorption. Digestion has supporting glands as well. It starts in the mouth, known as the oral cavity, where mastication occurs. This is the process of chewing and mechanically breaking down the food Then the salivary glands, which has enzymes, or in the saliva, begin to break down the carbohydrates. The food then passes into the esophagus. It goes through the pharynx, Pharynx, into the esophagus. With rhythmic contractions are the muscle layers pushing this ball of food down the esophagus. The bolus passes into the stomach through the esophagus. It goes through the esophagus into the stomach. Once the food is in the stomach, there is a esophageal sphincter that's normally closed, but it allows for food not to go back up into the esophagus. Once the food goes into the stomach, it starts to contract and swirl and churn in the stomach because it's mixing the hydrochloric acid and the enzyme pepsin. This is part of the chemical digestion of proteins that helps turn the fluid slowly into a chyme. The major digestive enzymes are families which digest carbohydrates, such as fats, and also digest fats and proteins. Eventually, the digestion, that goes from the stomach into the intestines. The first portion of the large intestine is called the cecum, C-E-C-U-M. The main function of the large intestine is to absorb water, and its sole use, such as fatty acids, which help concentrate there. This then goes into the colon and enters into an area before the anal sphincter, and it relaxes and defecation occurs.